Welcome to Sharing Love and Loss with Robin Alexis. I am your host, Robin Alexis, and as a mother who birthed 2 sets of twins and then buried one from each set, I am very familiar with the shock of experiencing loss. Loss can present itself in many ways. It can be the loss of a baby, person, beloved pet, health, career, and more. But we all have to learn how to deal with loss. So how do each of us in our own unique ways cope with loss? This show is an opportunity for our guests to share with us the experience of what they lost and how they coped through it. If you would like to be a guest on Sharing Love and Loss, please email me, your host, Robin Alexis, at spiritlady.robin@gmail.com. That's spiritlady.robin@gmail.com. And to feel more safe contacting me about your personal story of love and loss, please learn more about me, your host, Robin Alexis. Visit my website, robinalexis.com. Today's guest is Dr. Daniel Golshani. He is a plastic surgeon from Beverly Hills, California, and I'm just delighted to have him with us as he shares with us what it's like for people to love themselves, but not like something about their looks, and want to experience surgery so that they can change how they feel about themselves. We'll be right back.
Do you crave freedom with joy in your life? Have you ever wished for a life of ease in your mind, body, and soul? Giving and receiving love, Joy Air is a certified emotion code and body code practitioner, and she's accepting new clients now. Call her at 360-582-6595 to find out more about her work and to schedule your appointment. Experience freedom with joy. Call her at 360-582-6595 now. She is amazing.
This is Robin Alexis, and I am very, very excited to share with you my new book, Raising Humanity, Why We All Must Remember. It's a book about choosing love. There's 21 inspiring stories by different authors, including myself. The book can be found at Amazon.com. That's Raising Humanity, Why We All Must Remember.
Join Mystic Radio for past lives, people, and pets every Wednesday at 12 noon on KKNW 1150 AM. Every Wednesday, you can call into Mystic Radio for a past life reading or a spiritual healing for you and your pets. Robin Alexis is an exceptionally talented intuitive who's identified hundreds of people's past lives. Nels Rasmussen is a renowned spiritual energy balancer who is adept at remote healing for you and your pets. Join us Wednesdays at 12 noon for Mystic Radio on KKNW 1150 AM.
Before I interview a very interesting guest, I would like to take a moment to thank the producer of Sharing Love and Loss with Robin Alexis, Eric Ryder, and our sponsor, Joy Air. Without them, the show would not exist, and I wouldn't have the privilege to interview our next guest, who is a world-renowned plastic surgeon from Beverly Hills, California. And you may be wondering, why am I interviewing a plastic surgeon on Sharing Love and Loss? It's because sometimes people don't love how their body looks, and they want to consciously lose that look and find a look that they do love. And I thought, wow, let's have Dr. Daniel Golshani on the show, and he obliged to be the guest. So thank you, Daniel, so much for coming.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm actually excited to be here to talk to you as well.
Oh, well, Dr. Golshani, what compelled you to become a plastic surgeon?
I think it was sometime when I was in medical school. I was studying and I was really intent on being a cancer surgeon, and actually did a whole fellowship in cancer surgery. And as I realized more about my own persona and how my brain operated, I'm a very right brain individual. I'm left-handed surgeon, right brain individual, and plastic surgery really became very synchronous with how I felt about surgery. It's very non-traditional. It's very right brain, very creative. And so I really identify with the process of reconstruction, to build rather than to take things out. And that's what plastic surgery is. In plastic surgery, we build, we reform and recreate rather than take things out. And that really, I identified with that.
And how is it that you became such an adept plastic surgeon that you are in Beverly Hills, California? What's that journey been like for you?
Well, it was mostly for me geographic. I had the choice of staying in San Francisco, where I did my residency at UCSF. And both my wife and I, our families were in LA, and I had grown up in Santa Monica. So a
Oh,
lot of it was geographic, the decision to come back to LA and try to be where both our families were.
well, that sounds exciting. Now, how have you personally gained from offering these services to people? And how many, like, have you been doing this for decades at this point?
Yeah, I have to say I've been in private practice for 22 years now. So I finished my residency in year 2000, and I've been in private practice since then. So it's a couple of decades that I've been doing this. And your first question was, how have I personally benefited from it? Besides the fact that, I can pay the bills and, provide for my family, I think it's a place where, as a vocation, I can get to meet a lot of people who are at a very specific point in their lives where they're ready for a change to improve themselves.
Hmm.
And they appear in front of me, and very quickly I learned that, as opposed to the counterculture concept of plastic surgery, where this is just a purely physical thing, I learned that a lot of these people are looking not just for a change of their physical self, they're in the process of improving their lives, and there's a lot of different layers to it. So for me, it's been a very personal, amazing experience in terms of being able to help people not just physically improve themselves, improve their self-image, their body, the image that they want to lose and who they want to transform into, and as well be able to see that how that translates at other levels, which is also just mind-boggling, how physical change can be the catalyst for deeper levels, which then I think is why me being on this show with you makes a little bit of sense, because I think that we do help people on multiple levels, that just not just on the physical level.
So, based on your more holistic perspective of the service you provide with plastic surgery, do you take any and all patients who come to you?
Well, I try to meet as many patients who want to meet with me and have a consultation, but on a routine basis, I don't operate on everybody who comes to see me. A lot of people who come to see me don't need my services. Just recently, I had a gentleman and his wife who were in front of me, and the gentleman, very tall, muscular man in his 60s. Was so busy that while during the consultation he was talking to me about losing some fat in his abdomen, he received 5 or 6 calls from his business, and I realized that he was a very stressed out, under duress human being. And when I examined him, I realized there was nothing I could do for him surgically. It was not a question of liposuction where we remove fat from under the skin. This was, he had gathered fat within his abdomen, around his liver and intestines, and this was an internal problem, and it was because of stress, and it was because of the way that his life is. So instead of talking about plastic surgery, my first sentence was, look, you don't need plastic surgery, but I'm going to talk to you about what you need to do to save your life, because you're on a clock right now. He was a smoker, so we talked about all that. He needed to lose, he's almost 300 pounds, even though he's an ex-soldier, he's now almost 300 pounds. So this was a perfect example of somebody I didn't take on, but we spent half an hour talking to him about what I recommended. I sent him to a few specialists to make sure that he loses weight and checks his cholesterol and gets worked up, so that his life will take the type of detour that he requires, which in his case was to slow down, to improve his health, and basically not be on a fast train to a heart attack, which was the case for him.
So rather than, compulsively just giving him what he asked for, you actually listened to him and gave him feedback to have him help the quality of his life.
Yeah, and that's what I do for every patient, which is why what I do is so much fun, because when you expand that to everyone, you realize that everybody's picture is not just a compulsive physical change that they need, which can improve their facial features, but there's a much deeper story. And it's true for the 20-year-old lady who comes in who has a big bump on her nose, and for the past 6 years she's been under social stigma because of her big nose and wants to have a rhinoplasty. And it's also true for everybody else. So every story is deep, and the first thing I do is listen to try to understand what's motivating the patients.
That's absolutely extraordinary. Now, were you like that from the very beginning of your practice, or over time you cultivated how you offer your service in such a unique way?
Well, that's a really good question. I think nobody is what they were at the beginning. I think we all evolve and we all change. I think the first rule is the attitude that one has. If I had developed a wrong attitude about what I do, my practice could have looked totally different. And I know there are people out there who practice plastic surgery with a totally different attitude. So I developed the right attitude about my patients. I realized that I was here for service, that I am here to serve these people, help them reach whatever it is for them that makes their lives better, but not at just the physical level. And I evolved, and I kept noticing the same story repeat itself, where I could make changes that could mean substantially more for these people than just changing their bodies.
Wow. Well, I think this is a good time to take a break, and we'll come back to you after we hear from our sponsors.
Do you crave freedom with joy in your life? Have you ever wished for a life of ease in your mind, body, and soul? Giving and receiving love, Joy Air is a certified emotion code and body code practitioner, and she's accepting new clients now. Call her at 360-582-6595 to find out more about her work and to schedule your appointment. Experience freedom with joy. Call her at 360-582-6595 now. She is amazing.
This is Robin Alexis, and I am very, very excited to share with you my new book, Raising Humanity, Why We All Must Remember. It's a book about choosing love. There's 21 inspiring stories by different authors, including myself. The book can be found at Amazon.com. That's Raising Humanity, Why We All Must Remember.
Join Mystic Radio for past lives, people, and pets every Wednesday at 12 noon on KKNW 1150 AM. Every Wednesday, you can call into Mystic Radio for a past life reading or a spiritual healing for you and your pets. Robin Alexis is an exceptionally talented intuitive who's identified hundreds of people's past lives. Nels Rasmussen is a renowned spiritual energy balancer who is adept at remote healing for you and your pets. Join us Wednesdays at 12 noon for Mystic Radio on KKNW 1150 AM.
Welcome back to the show. We are here with plastic surgeon Dr. Daniel Ghoshani. He is a very, very well-renowned plastic surgeon from Beverly Hills, California. We are discussing sometimes we don't love something about ourselves and we want to lose it consciously. And Dr. Ghoshani is here explaining how he runs his practice in Beverly Hills, which is very, very fascinating. We've been talking about how you will not perform surgery on just everybody, that you listen to them and you assess, how can you serve them as a whole person? And if it ends up that they need surgery, then you will do it. But you kind of look at them more holistically than, say, someone else in your line of work. Now, I also want to talk to you. What have you noticed about like the mental health of, say, like young girls and how they're being affected in social media about their appearance. Have you been getting more parents bringing kids to you who need plastic surgery or think they need plastic surgery?
Well, specifically the last question, I think something very deep happened during COVID. I think that the influence of social media suddenly became so much more important for teenagers and kids, and I think maybe the whole seclusion period during COVID changed us all in some ways. There are still situations where little children come in because they have congenital deformities that need to be fixed, or prominent ears, or things that need to be addressed earlier in life. And they totally have reason to be addressed, or cleft lip, or problems like that. But people coming in for cosmetic surgery at a young age usually don't come in very early on. We start seeing them around 16 and up. And if somebody comes to see me for cosmetic surgery at 16 because their parents think they need it, generally speaking, my answer is no. So my answer is, okay, let's talk about what you need to do to improve this situation. And I tell them about human growth paradigm and all that. But I do think that social media does have a very straining effect on teenagers. And I think it does affect them in the way that our ego affects us and controls us individually. Social media culturally controls large groups of people in deleterious, potentially harmful ways.
So, based on all this practical wisdom that you have, what would you say to people who may have been wherever they live, not necessarily even in Los Angeles, but wherever they live, as they're looking at themselves and maybe they're really upset about the way they look? Is there anything that you would suggest they could do to listen to themselves and just move forward before they even get to having a conversation with you, if they want to fly down to Beverly Hills and meet with you?
Yeah, I could say so much, but if I want to
Please
say it
do.
in the short version, it's totally normal for us to feel the way we do. Every human being has the same dilemmas. We all share more in common than we are different. And whether a person is overweight and they have suffered body changes after having children that bothers them, or they have stigma associated with facial anatomic things that bother them on their face, whether it's aging or aesthetic nose deformities or anything like that, whatever it is, it's okay, because this all happens to all of us and we all go through it, and it's okay to want to improve it and change it. This is not vanity. It's basically, our body is a garment that we all carry, and it's okay for us the way we feel. And if there is a way to improve it in a way that it will improve our self-confidence, self-image, allow us to move forward with our lives in a healthy way, it's okay to feel that way. And you just need to find the right physician to be able to guide you to be able to reach those goals. But I think it should always have the right meaning and reason. So it should be for you. It should not be for a secondary gain. It should not be for somebody else. And it should be for the purpose of the reasons that you do it should be for purpose of improving your life, the quality of your life, so on and so forth.
Well, that's just beautiful. And so if people do want to get a hold of you, how can they do that?
Well, I'm very easy to find. So all they have to do is go to Google and put in my name, which is Daniel Golshani, MD, and a bunch of websites are going to pop up. My website is drgolshani.com. And from there, we're very easy to reach. Our phone number is there. They can send us a message and our staff will communicate with them.
No, do you do any virtual Zoom meetings with people?
Yes, we do. Because of COVID, we started doing a lot more remote consults, and I have people reaching us from all over the country and even from across the ocean in Europe, we have people who contact us, and we do Zoom calls, and once in a while we have them come in and do their surgery with us, or we refer them to somebody where they are who is reliable and can be referred to.
Well, that sounds wonderful. Now, before you go, Dr. Golshani, is there something about like your own personal practice of how you stay in touch with listening to yourself and to the garment of your body? What do you do for yourself? Not what you do for other people. What do you do for you?
Well, Robin, I try to grow every day. One of my tenets is I try to read almost every day. In fact, right now I have a book in front of me I'm reading, which is phenomenal, by Jerry Sargent. So I'm always reading. I always try to grow. I have teachers who help me with my personal growth. I think that we are so lucky to be here on planet Earth, experiencing life here. There's so much joy to be experienced and so much knowledge to be gained. So I don't want to, I kind of regret not having more time in a lifetime, or I wish there was more than one of me. So one of me could just keep learning at all times. But I try to always improve myself every day if I can.
Well, that's just wonderful, too. I have such respect for you personally and for your practice. And again, for people who are listening to this particular show, Sharing Love and Loss with Rob and Alexis, I am here with a world-renowned plastic surgeon from Beverly Hills, Dr. Daniel Golshani. And what we are speaking about is sometimes we don't love something and we want to consciously lose it to gain what we do love. And in this case, we are speaking about if you don't love the way you look, what can you do? And there's many, many things that you can do to get comfortable. And getting in touch with Dr. Daniel Golshani is one of them. So one more time, why don't you tell our audience how they can get a hold of you? Because wherever they are in the world, they can have a virtual Zoom call with you.
Yes, they can. And I would love to talk to them. Our website is www.drgolshani@gmail.com. And if they go to the web and they just put Golshani in or Daniel Golshani, I will pop up, and send us a message or call us. We will set up a Zoom, and I would love to be able to help you or give you guidance, and if there's anything we can do to help.
And let's tell everybody that when they get in touch with you, why don't they let you know they heard you on Sharing Love and Loss with Rob and Alexis. Thank you so much for being my guest today. I really am grateful that you took the time to talk to us.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you, Robin.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Do you crave freedom with joy in your life? Have you ever wished for a life of ease in your mind, body, and soul? Giving and receiving love, Joy Air is a certified emotion code and body code practitioner, and she's accepting new clients now. Call her at 360-582-6595 to find out more about her work and to schedule your appointment. Experience freedom with joy. Call her at 360-582-6595 now. She is amazing.
This is Robin Alexis, and I am very, very excited to share with you my new book, Raising Humanity, Why We All Must Remember. It's a book about choosing love. There's 21 inspiring stories by different authors, including myself. The book can be found at Amazon.com. That's Raising Humanity, Why We All Must Remember.
Join Mystic Radio for past lives, people, and pets every Wednesday at 12 noon on KKNW 1150 AM. Every Wednesday, you can call into Mystic Radio for a past life reading or a spiritual healing for you and your pets. Robin Alexis is an exceptionally talented intuitive who's identified hundreds of people's past lives. Nels Rasmussen is a renowned spiritual energy balancer who is adept at remote healing for you and your pets. Join us Wednesdays at 12 noon for Mystic Radio on KKNW 1150 AM.
The previous program, Sharing Love and Loss with Rob and Alexis, was produced by Eric Ryder and was brought to you by freedom with joy. I do invite you to subscribe to Sharing Love and Loss with Rob and Alexis wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.